we're going to talk a little bit about the Tribali brand, where it came from, what it means to this family and that kind of thing, and also how that plays a role in the Simple Grocer and what we want to do as a company in bringing these kind of really awesome products, people, brands, really to the nation. And we're not the only people doing that, but we think we're going to do it better than anybody else. So, Angela, John, welcome. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
So maybe the best way to go, the thing people may not know is, who are you? So Angela, why don't you start? Tell us a little bit about who you are and just what you do, and maybe a little bit where Tribali came from, and then we can plug John in whenever he starts dozing off.
All right. Okay, great. So I am the oldest of the three siblings. So it's myself, John.
Oh, sorry. Chris is hiding off camera.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
literally hiding.
Off audio. He's actually hiding off camera and off audio. Okay, sorry.
But he's part of the team too. And we grew up in the restaurant business. So my dad owned and operated fast food hamburger drive-thrus here in Pasadena. And the boys took over that business quite a while ago, years ago, and expanded to barbecue and other types of restaurants. I was off doing other things, living abroad, getting my MBA, owning a shoe store and clothing store, all the fun stuff. And then I was also vegetarian for 35 years. So growing up in a Greek household from,
Boom.
right, burger-owned restaurant, I was almost the black sheep. Like, why do you not eat meat, right?
No, but you make a great representative now.
Right.
For the vegetarian community. You really understand them. See, I have a hard time relating to the vegetarian community. I never have really been brave enough or strong enough willed or educated enough to just eat vegetarian.
You don't need to. Meat's great for you.
Well, I believe so. Of course, being raised on a ranch where we would eat our own beef. So I just never even crossed my mind that it wouldn't be a part of my diet.
Right. But I think back when I was into nutrition, I think the messages were that meat's bad for you, it's going to clog your arteries, grains were promoted. We were all concerned about, calorie counts, and where now we've swung the pendulum to the other side where fat is embraced. You want to eat healthy fats. People are putting, fat in their coffees in the morning for bulletproof coffee. The carnivore diet and keto diet are so popular. So there's definitely a switch in perception. And I studied nutrition about 4 years ago and became a holistic nutritionist to realize that there's some great health benefits in good, high quality meat. So I was deficient in a few things. I had done some tests and I realized, let me try incorporating meat back into my diet. I was eating fish the whole time, but not red meat. So I tried a piece of grass-fed and finished steak about 4 years ago, and I never looked back.
Right.
So now
I was so hoping you would say bacon, because I always tell everybody bacon is the gateway meat for vegetarians. But turns out it might be grass-fed ribeye. Was it ribeye?
Yes, it was.
Oh, yeah.
And I am eating more meat now to make up for 35 years of abstaining for it. So having said that, I started making burger patties, and reason being is I grew up, like I said, in the burger business. I was very familiar with utilizing a patty, but I was always eating it sort of bunless, more on the healthy side. And when I was a vegetarian, in the freezer section, I would always buy those veggie patties. When I was in college, you throw them in, you cook them for a few seconds, made out of quinoa or black beans or mushrooms. And when I was looking into the meat section, I'm like, there's no flavorful patties. There's nothing there that's got some oomph to it. Most of them tasted like cardboard to me. So I started making them, and really, I would tell my clients as a nutritionist, really eat the rainbow of vegetables and fruits. I started eating the rainbow of animal proteins. I was trying veal and venison and lamb and beef and all sorts of different ones. And I would cut various herbs, spices, vegetables, and purees into the meat after I would grind it. I actually bought a refurbished grinder on Amazon and a white lab coat. My kids thought I was a mad scientist, but I would sit there
you were a mad
and I would make
scientist.
these creations that were tasty. I'd stick them in the freezer, and then I had friends and family pass by and go, "Oh, do you have that Moroccan lamb you made, or how about the Mediterranean beef?" And the Mediterranean one is actually like in Greece. My grandmother would make these. They're more oval in shape, but we would eat these they're called biftecca, and it's ground meat with nice herbs and vegetables in it. It just gives it a little flavor. So that was the first one that was made. And lo and behold, I had these, and I went up to Whole Foods here in my local, city, and they knew my dad from the restaurant business, and they knew that he owned Tops. And they, when I told them what I was doing, I said, let's give them a try. We love burgers. So I introduced them to the patties, and then they set me up with corporate. I said, you've got something here. Right. And at the time, I didn't really have everything planned out. Like, I didn't have the brand, what we're about. I didn't know how to produce a product, USDA in a facility. There's so many intricacies to that. But I introduced them to the concept, and I said, there's a need for higher quality. And that's what I was about. Now that I'm eating meat again, it needed to be organic, grass-fed and finished, pasture-raised, natural, and as clean as possible.
There's so much stuff you just said there. Well, the picture I want to paint for people listening is, you ought to see the passion in this lady's eyes when she starts talking about this stuff. It's so fun to talk to founders of companies, inventors of products, because you know everything there is to know about it, because
I gave birth to it.
Birthed
Yeah,
it, right?
Absolutely.
So it's so cool. It's really fun to just talk about that. Now, so John, let's tell everybody a little bit about you and
Sure.
catch them up on that piece.
Yeah, so I, as Angela mentioned, we kind of all grew up in the restaurant business, and each kind of went our separate ways into college, and I thought it was something that I would possibly end up doing, but didn't start off doing. And Chris, my brother, was already running our father's burger place, the original Tops in Pasadena.
Is it still there?
It is.
Oh yeah, still there. Yeah, it's been in Pasadena since
No, is it
1950.
still under y'all's management?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And picture big burgers, a shoebox of French fries, shakes. I mean, that's all American.
So everybody listening in Pasadena area, go check it out if you haven't already.
Yeah.
They probably already know about it. So if you're in Texas, fly out here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so as I kind of started working a little bit more, I found that was clearly my passion, and joined Chris after I graduated. And from the burger place, we kind of went off and did various things, went into upper casual dining and did a barbecue restaurant, and we did a bar, and have opened a few others since then. And so along the way, Angela, as she mentioned, was kind of tinkering with this idea and having us be the guinea pigs to taste it. And surprisingly, even the first batch was amazing. And so, she ran with it, and as she said, pitched to Whole Foods, and realized there was something there. And as the momentum grew and the responsibilities grew, we kind of joined the team probably about a year ago.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit less.
It's a good thing we all get along too.
Yeah. That's right. Or even if you don't, you're able to work together. I mean, growing up in a family business myself, just the ranch, we do get along, but we don't always agree.
Right.
That's kind of what we say.
Which is
and then
good.
you have to spend a little time communicating and caring.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And if you can do that, well, you really can take a business
Yeah.
as a family wherever you can dream it.
Well, there's a level of trust too, and
Yes.
we know we have each other's back, and
Trust and vulnerability
Right.
have to be, because if John just said, that sucked, it would maybe hurt your feelings a little bit, because you just put this recipe together you loved so much. This has happened to me personally. My mom is kind of my best measuring stick. Mm-hmm. Hey Mom, we're trying this stuff. What do you think? And she will just, I'll never forget this. We were doing ham. We were making ham. And I said, Mom, try this ham. This is going to be our holiday ham. And no knock on Vienna sausages, but she said, that tastes like Vienna sausage. And I said, well, that's a big problem, because it's supposed to taste like the most scrumptious ham you've ever had. But it was such honest feedback that I could be vulnerable enough to just listen, hear, and react based on it. And it turns out it helped us make what I think is a really quality product now. But you got to be willing to understand the first try isn't going to necessarily always be the best try.
No, and they've come to the table. It's so great with not just a sophisticated palate, because they are in the food service business, but also just such efficiencies to streamline the business. Because I'm up and running and I'm full throttle, and they've come in and just helped manage all sorts of
I'll
aspects
never
because there are
forget
so many moving parts.
my wife came home after meeting you somewhere, some conference or something. She said, I just met a lady that's going to be successful. And she was like,
Oh.
she is such a tenacious go-getter personality and
Well, I think you
attitude
do.
towards it.
That's so
Well,
sweet.
you should be thanking her because she's the one that told me, and she's got a great knack for that kind of stuff. She has just a feeling for marketing and business, and I want to just call it tenacity.
Good,
So
good.
she
That's
saw that
great.
in you early on. So that was, we've always known Tribali is going to be a brand to reckon with. So
Well, I'm excited to have partnered with the Simple Grocer. I think this is a great vehicle to get us out there and get our product to the right consumers that care about quality and care about, sustainability and where their product's coming from. So
sure, and I believe as we go along, Peterson's, Tribali, Pasture Bird, all these different brands and really high-end proteins that we get together, bring together. And, we're going to be doing a dinner tonight kind of with a group. I'm really excited about that because I think there's going to be conversation had, ideas bounced off. You get a bunch of these entrepreneurial minds around the table, all doing something kind of similar but not exactly the same. There's usually growth, at least in my experience. I learned something from that conversation or that time together
Absolutely.
almost every time.
absolutely.
Okay, so maybe we're going to get off of Tribali here a little bit because this restaurant thing's just clicking in my mind. It's really interesting to me. I'm trying to think. I've read a book just recently by his first name is Danny. He's a really well-known restaurant.
Danny Meyer.
Yes, Danny Meyer. So give me your thoughts on Danny Meyer.
I mean, extremely impressive. And the book's Setting the Table.
Yes.
Which is a great book. I mean, he started, in New York in the probably toughest market of restaurants and opened one kind of flagship at a really young age. And then kind of waited quite a while, 9 years until he opened his second, really from kind of, I think, fear of failing because the first had been successful.
Right.
And so from then on, he ended up opening tons and tons of kind of fine dining, restaurants, as well as Shake Shack, which is the, fast casual burger place that started in the East Coast and now is worldwide and went public. So he's got amazing insight on not just the restaurant business, but business in general. And Setting the Table is a great book, regardless of whether you're in the food business or not.
Well, that's kind of parlays to one of the questions I always like to ask everybody.
Yeah.
Danny Meyer just happened to come across my brain as we were talking, but tell me a little bit about what do y'all consume for education, well, in books or podcasts or, I don't know, classes. What do you do to, I guess, challenge yourself on that front? Either one, pick something.
Well, I know there's two podcasts that I listen to and I turn them on to. One's Taste Radio, and they do the BevNet and they go to all the expos, shows, and trade shows and interview all the brands and have lots of the founders on there. So listening to their stories, how they started and how they got from point A to point B has helped me. I look at them as mentors, and I've actually reached out to various brand owners when I have questions, and everyone's so helpful and open in this industry. I mean, it's so refreshing to see that people, want to help you along. So, and then the other one is Brand Builders. Are you familiar with that one?
No, I'm not familiar with either one of them,
Great.
so that's going to be good information for me. I'll add that to my growing list of podcasts that I listen to. I have about a 2-hour commute every day.
Brand Builders is a
yeah.
great
I
one.
Podcast is
listen to them
perfect.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been I never read a book till about November of last year. Never read a full book. I don't even know how I got through school. So I did. Just reading, I don't know, didn't jive with me.
Yeah.
But I started listening to audibles and podcasts, and I've listened to 32 books, and I'm listening to podcasts all the time. And I'm really sad about it because I think, all this education I'm now trying to flood into this brain, it won't all get in there, so it's always falling out. I'm trying to jam it back in. I could have been putting it in slowly over time and held a lot more. but I'm also happy because I'm
Right.
doing it instead of not. Now I feel like, wow,
Yeah.
like I know about Danny Meyer, I know about Gary Vaynerchuk, which is a marketing guy I really like. I know about Tim Ferriss. I'm
Yeah.
going to get to know about now the brand builders. Is that a person or is it different people all the time on that podcast? Is there
It's,
kind of a host?
Yeah, it features a different topic, and there's usually a guest speaker from either a CPG company or a marketing company or a consultant, someone that can offer insight on the, building a brand from 0 to 100. And so it's got some really great. Angela turned me on to it, and I think I've heard all of them.
Right.
It's really it's worth listening to.
You bet. I'm going to check it out. I know we'll be driving around town today. I'll make
Yeah.
these girls listen to it with me.
Yeah, and podcasts have picked up so much lately. Like, I think that's where it's at. You want to learn, just because you listen to their experiences. It's so different than reading a book, because a book will give you one dimensional of how it's done, and then these brand builders that have built their brand, each one had a different approach, a different journey.
Right.
And I literally have reached out to so many of them because I too am a brand now, and so when there's questions, it's nice to be able to just go to the source. So I encourage them.
Sure. Well, that's great. So what about books? Any books?
I mean, I think I've run out of time to actually sit and which is sad to say, and have time. On vacation, I'll end up reading a book or two and catch up for the months that I haven't. But I think podcasts is a big one on the restaurant side. Just within like our office, we're constantly sharing ideas through articles, recipes, new techniques. Internally, one of the things that we always talk about, it's like a value of ours is curiosity. So anything that can make us better, we're usually looking into, and I think we've kind of started that with Tribali too. Looked at all everything that we're doing and how can we do it better and how can we learn from what others have done. And
Well, I'm sure. No, you just said Tribali. Where'd that come from?
The word
Yeah,
itself?
yeah. Where did Tribali come from? I'm sure that story is out there somewhere, but let's put it on
Right,
tape.
absolutely. So part of what I believe in is that when you change anything in your life, especially a way of eating, you need a teacher, a teaching, and a tribe of people. You need a community, a sense of people that care about the same values that you care about what you're putting in your body, how it's affecting you. So we kind of gave it a little spin and did Tribali with a, I don't know, little accent, a little
Tribali?
yeah.
That's how it's supposed to work. All right, good.
But
Well,
it is,
I need to
it's-
improve that pronunciation because I miss it.
Tribali.
Tribali.
But it is just bringing that tribe of people together that also have common beliefs and values into the food system.